Welcome to 5-Minute English Daily. Today we are focusing on one of the most common problem areas for intermediate learners, prepositions. In just 5 minutes, you will understand 5 key words and learn how to use them correctly. Here are your 5 vocabulary words. The first word is preposition. Preposition. A preposition is a small word that shows the relationship between a noun and another part of the sentence, often describing time, place, or direction. For example, the words in, on, at, by, and for are all prepositions. The second word is dependent. Dependent. Something that is dependent relies on something else and cannot exist or work without it. For example, some verbs are dependent on specific prepositions, so you simply have to learn them together. The third word is fixed expression. Fixed expression. A fixed expression is a phrase where the words do not change and must always appear in the same form. For example, the phrase "in the end" is a fixed expression, and you cannot replace "in" with another preposition. The fourth word is context. Context. Context refers to the situation or surrounding information that helps you understand the correct meaning of a word or phrase. For example, the preposition you choose can change completely depending on the context of your sentence. The fifth word is interference. Interference. Interference happens when your first language influences your English in a way that causes mistakes. For example, interference from your native language may lead you to say, "I am agree," instead of "I agree." Now, let us think about how these words appear in real situations. Imagine you are a student who says, "I arrived to London yesterday." This is a very common mistake. The correct sentence is, "I arrived in London yesterday." We use "in" with cities and countries, not "to." The verb arrive is a great example of a dependent verb because it depends on a specific preposition based on what follows it. You arrive in a city. You arrive at a specific place, like a station or an airport, but you never arrive to. Another mistake learners often make is saying, "I am interested about music." The correct form is, "I am interested in music." This is a fixed expression. The adjective interested always takes the preposition in. There is no grammatical rule that explains why. You simply need to learn it as a complete unit. And this is exactly where context and interference play a role. If your language uses a word that means about in this situation, your brain will transfer that pattern into English. Now let us look more closely at each of the 5 words. Preposition. The key point is that prepositions in English do not always follow logical rules. On time means exactly at the scheduled time. In time means early enough. Both use a preposition, but the meaning is completely different. You need to notice these small differences carefully. Dependent. Many adjectives and verbs in English are dependent on one particular preposition. Afraid of, good at, married to, responsible for. These combinations are fixed. For example, you would say, "She is good at speaking," never "good in speaking." Learning them as chunks will help your fluency grow faster. Fixed expression. Fixed expressions behave like single units. At the end refers to a physical position, like at the end of the street. In the end means finally or after everything. For example, in the end, we decided to stay home. Treating these as complete phrases, rather than building them word by word, is the most efficient approach. Context. Always read the full sentence before choosing a preposition. For example, "She works at a hospital," describes her workplace, while "she works in medicine" describes her field. One small word changes the entire picture that the sentence creates. Interference. The best way to reduce interference is to study English prepositions directly from English sources. Try not to translate. For example, instead of translating "depends on" into your language and back again, just memorize the whole phrase, "It depends on." Now for your quick recap. A preposition shows relationships in a sentence. Many verbs and adjectives are dependent on specific prepositions. Fixed expressions must be memorized as complete units. Context helps you choose the right word. And interference from your first language is a common source of mistakes. Practice one preposition pattern each day, and your accuracy will improve steadily. Thank you for learning with 5 Minute English Daily. See you in the next lesson.